The Philippines is home to many indigenous peoples who have lived in the mountains, forests, and remote areas for hundreds of years. One of this group is the Mangyan tribe of Mindoro. They are known for their simple way of life, deep respect for nature, and strong connection to their ancestral land. For them, land is not just a place to live, it is their identity, their history, and their survival.
However, in recent years, the Mangyan people have faced a serious problem: the loss and the threat of their ancestral lands. Many areas that were once freely used by the Mangyan for farming, hunting, and cultural practices are now being taken, sold, or controlled by private individuals, companies, and even development projects. This situation has caused fear, displacement, and loss of livelihood among many Mangyan communities.
According to reports from the Philippine Daily Inquirer and Rappler, indigenous peoples in Mindoro, including the Mangyan, continue to struggle with land conflicts despite the existence of Indigenous Peoples Rights Act, also known as IPRA Law or Republic Act 8371. This law is supposed to protect ancestral domains, but in reality, implementation is often weak. Some communities still experience illegal and claims lack of proper land titles and limited government support in defending their rights. Because of this, ancestral lands are slowly being reduced, affecting not only their homes but also their cultural and traditions.
This case study is Tulin Roth's Echoes of the Forest, the Mangyan's Cry for Ancestral Land, aims to explore the real situation of the Mangyan people and their struggle to protect their ancestral domain. It also seeks to raise awareness about the importance of land rights for indigenous communities and how these rights are connected to culture, survival, and identity.
Protecting ancestral land is not just about territory. It is about respecting the people who have lived in harmony with nature long before modern development came. The Mangyan people remind us that land is life, and losing it means losing a part of who they are. To better understand their situation, we must look deeper into the causes behind the continuous loss of Mangyan ancestral land.
To better understand the situation of the Mangyan people, it is important to examine the main issues they are currently facing regarding their ancestral lands.
The main issue in this case study is the continuous loss and trade of the Mangyan people's ancestral land in Mindoro. Even though there is a law that protects indigenous peoples in the Philippines, many Mangyan communities still experience problems in securing and protecting their land rights.
One of the biggest problems is land grabbing. This happens when individuals or groups occupy or claim land that is traditionally owned and used by indigenous community without legal and cultural permission. In some cases, land that the Mangyan have used for farming or living for generations are suddenly declared private property or included in development plans. This creates conflicts and confusion, especially when there are no clear land titles given to the indigenous communities.
Economic development pressures. Another issue is the expansion of economic activities such as logging, agriculture, and tourism. According to reports discussed by Philippines news organization like Rappler, Mindoro has faced environmental pressure due to forest activities and land conversion. These activities often enter ancestral domains, reducing forest areas where the Mangyan depend on food, medicine, and cultural practices. When forests are destroyed, their way of life is also affected.
Government support is also a major concern. Although the Indigenous People Rights Act exists, many Mangyan communities still struggle with slow processing of ancestral domain claims. Some areas remain unregistered or disputed for many years. This makes it difficult for them to legally defend their land when conflicts arise. In addition, some communities lack access to legal assistance and information about their rights.
Poverty also worsens the situation. Many Mangyan families live in remote areas with limited access to education, healthcare, and employment. Because of this, some are forced to accept unfair agreements, sell land cheaply, or move away from their ancestral territories. This weakens their control over their land and increases the risk of displacement.
The effects of these issues are serious and long-lasting. When Mangyan people lost their land, they lost more than just a place to live. They lost their cultural identity, traditional knowledge, and connection to their ancestors. Sacred sites and cultural practices are abandoned or forgotten. Children grow up without fully experiencing their indigenous heritage. Over time, this leads to cultural erosion.
Environmentally, the loss of ancestral land also affects the forest ecosystem. The Mangyan have long practiced sustainable living, protecting forests and natural resources. When outsiders take over the land, deforestation and environmental damage often increase. This affects not only the indigenous people but also wildlife and future generations.
In summary, the issue of ancestral land loss among the Mangyan is not just about legal problem, but also a cultural, environmental, and human rights concern. It shows the need for stronger protection, proper implementation of laws, and genuine respect for indigenous communities and their way of life.
To further understand this issue, it is important to look the causes behind the continuous struggle of the Mangyan people.
To understand the struggle of Mangyan people more deeply, we must look at the root causes behind the continuous threat to their ancestral land.
Land grabbing. There are several reasons why the ancestral land of the Mangyan continues to be at risk. One of the main causes is land grabbing. This happens when outsiders claim or use land that has already been occupied and cared for by the Mangyan for a long time.
While this project may seem beneficial and threatens economic growth, they often affect forest areas where the Mangyan live or for food, shelter, and living. These developments gradually reduce access to their ancestral environment and resources.
There is also an issue with the weak implementation of the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997, also known as the IPRA law. Even though this law is supposed to protect indigenous communities, the process of securing ancestral land titles is often slow and complicated. Because of this, many Mangyan communities are not fully protected, leaving them vulnerable to land conflicts and external claims.
Poverty is another major factor due to limited access to education, legal support, and stable income. Some Mangyan families are forced to leave or even give up their land just to survive. This makes their situation more vulnerable, as losing their land also means losing their source of life and security.
In summary, the causes of the Mangyan's ancestral land issues are interconnected. Land grabbing, development budget, population, and poverty all contribute to the ongoing struggle.
The loss of ancestral land has serious effects of the Mangyan community. First, it affects their livelihood. They rely on their land for farming, food, and income, so losing it makes daily life more difficult. Second, it affects their cultural and identity. Many of their tradition and beliefs are connected to their land. When they lose access to it, this practice slowly disappears over time. Some families are also forced to move to lowland areas. In this place, they often struggle to adjust and many experience poverty or discriminations. Another effect is the loss of indigenous knowledge. Younger generation may not fully learn traditional practices anymore because they are no longer living in their ancestral environment. Lastly, there are environmental effects. The Mangyan have long protected their forests through sustainable practices. When outsiders take over, deforestation and environmental damage often increase, which affects both people and nature.
Laws, rights, and responses. The Philippines has established legal frameworks to protect the rights of indigenous peoples, most notably the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997 or EPRA. This landmark legislation recognized the rights of indigenous communities to their ancestral domains, self-governance, cultural integrity, and social justice. It affirms their ownership and control over ancestral lands, which are essential to their identity, traditions, and way of life. To implement this law, the government created the National Commission for Indigenous Peoples, or NCIP, the primary agency responsible for safeguarding indigenous rights. The NCIP facilitates the issuance of certificates of ancestral domain title, or CADT, and ensures that any development project with ancestral lands complies with the principle of free, prior, and informed consent. Despite these legal protections, challenges in implementation persist. Enforcement of EPRA remains inconsistent due to bureaucratic delays, limited resources, and insufficient awareness among some indigenous communities. As a result, cases of land enrichment and development projects proceeding without proper consent continue to affect groups such as the Mangyan. In response, various non-government organizations and advocacy groups have played a crucial role in supporting indigenous communities. These organizations provide legal assistance, promote awareness of indigenous rights, and implement sustainable development programs that respect cultural practices. They also empower communities to assert their rights and actively participate in decision-making processes. Overall, while EPRA provides a strong legal foundation for the protections of indigenous people, its effectiveness depends on the constant enforcement, government accountability, and meaningful collaboration with the indigenous communities to ensure that their rights are fully respected and upheld.
Addressing the issue of land grabbing and ancestral domain conflict among the Mangyan requires practical, inclusive, and culturally sensitive solution. First, there must be stronger and more consistent enforcement of the Indigenous People Rights Act of 1997 or EPRA to ensure that ancestral land are legally recognized, protected, and free from unauthorized intrusion. This includes accelerating the issuance of Certificate of Ancestral Domain Title or CADT and strengthening monitoring system to prevent illegal land acquisition and exploitation. Second, all development projects affecting indigenous land must strictly comply with the principle of free, prior, and informed consent or FPIC. Indigenous communities should be fully informed and actively involved in decision-making processes, ensuring that their rights, tradition, and perspective are respected. Transparency and accountability from both government agencies and private entities are essential in this process. Third, sustainable and community-based development programs shall be promoted to support the Mangyan's livelihood without compromising their cultural identity and environment. This may include eco-friendly agriculture, cultural preservation initiatives, and access to basic services such as education and healthcare that are tailored to their needs and context. Furthermore, increasing public awareness and education about indigenous rights is crucial in reducing discrimination and fostering respect for cultural diversity. Schools, media, and community organizations can play a key role in promoting understanding and solidarity with indigenous peoples. Finally, the youth of and student can contribute by engaging in advocacy, supporting indigenous-led initiatives, and using their platforms to amplify the voice of marginalized communities. Through collective action and sustained commitment, it is possible to create long-term solutions that uphold the rights, dignity, and well-being of the Mangyan and other indigenous groups in the Philippines.
As we come to the final part of this case study, we reflect on what we have learned from the situation of the Mangyan people. We chose the Mangyan because we wanted to understand more about their strong connection to their ancestral land and the challenges they face in protecting it. As we went deeper into our discussion, our group began to realize that land is not just something they own, but something they are truly connected to. It represents their history, their culture, and their way of life.
We learned that for the Mangyans, their ancestral land is where they find food, practice their traditions, and pass down their knowledge from one generation to another. Because of this, any threat to their land is also a threat to their identity.
In addition, Filipinos should care about indigenous peoples' issues because they are an important part of our national identity and heritage. If we ignore their struggles, we risk losing value, traditions, stories, and knowledge that make our culture rich and diverse. Understanding their situation help us become more aware, respectful, and responsible as citizens.
In the end, caring about the Mangyans and other indigenous groups is not just about supporting them, but also about protecting a part of who we are as a Filipinos.
Protect their land, protect their identity, protect our heritage.